I complain about the cost of living in Canada, but there's a lot of costs that we don't have over here. So the medical system, free medical, no, it's got a caveat. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. The medical system here, if anything happens to you and you need to be taken care of, you will be taken care of immediately and quickly and efficiently. It's one of the best medical systems. Or we've got really good doctors, we've got a really good system. If it's not life-threatening, yes, there are problems with the Canadian medical system. Like I said before, it's a little bit overrun with a lot of immigrants and a lot of people, and they didn't keep up with the needs. There's a lot more people around than it was designed for. So yes, there are problems. There are people that are talking about long waits to get non-essential medical treatment. There's people that nowadays go to the US to go and get non-essential medical treatment. They go there and they pay out of pocket and they get it done, because it's just, there are long wait times. You can't argue it. It's a well-known fact, and it is what it is. It's like, if you say, oh, my back hurts, but it's not life-threatening, and they go, well, you need to get a CT scan, don't be surprised if you wait 6 months to get the CT scan, because that's the next available opening. It is what it is. It is like that. So yes, obviously there's an issue, but hopefully people are working at solving it, and hopefully it will start catching up again. I know that there's some argument between Trudeau and the provincial governments about medical, and the federal government doesn't want to give them money that the provincial governments want, and there's a whole bunch of politics around it again, but hopefully they will get it sorted out at some stage and actually move forward and fix the system. But free medical makes a big difference. Now, compare it to South Africa. I mean, we used to pay for our discovery, which was the four of us plus Belinda, the four of us plus Belinda's mom and dad when they were still alive. We paid, I think it was 13,000 Rand, so that was just about $1,000 a month. That's what our medical cost us, and that was just an hospital plan. So only if you go into hospital, you still pay for your own doctor's visits and everything. That's just a hospital plan. So if something happens to you, you get admitted to hospital. You go to a private hospital and they take care of you. Now, I haven't been to a private hospital in South Africa for yonks. I mean, we kind of, I guess, left South Africa before 2016, and our last time I visited in the hospital was in 2014 or 2013 when I broke my back, I guess. But anyway, so what I wanted to say is, like, if you compare the private hospitals and the private doctors, the high-end doctors and hospitals that we used to, that with the Canadian medical system, you get better care in South Africa in certain instances, or you used to. I don't know what it is like right now, but you used to get better care in South Africa. I mean, it was fancier, smarter, cleaner, newer hospitals, because they were making a crap load of money. But slightly, I would say slightly. The big difference there was, I mean, if you wanted to see a doctor, you saw a doctor. There's a doctor available. But then again, the doctor got paid a lot of money from the medical aid, so he was happy to help. And you didn't have the wait times. But if you were in South Africa and you have to compare the South African public health system to the Canadian public health system, then, I mean, there's no comparison. It's like, there's no comparison between going to Joburg Gen and going to Lionsgate Hospital. I mean, it's just not. In Joburg Gen, you go to die. Lionsgate Hospital, you go to get fixed. So yeah. So free medical makes a difference. It's a huge cost that you don't have anymore. So that does help. Schooling, it's an interesting one. And the schooling in Canada is significantly different to, I guess, the schooling in South Africa. But once again, we have to differentiate between schooling, private schooling in South Africa and public schooling in South Africa, because once again, those are two completely different things. You know, I've spoken to a lot of people over here with kids that came out and said, oh, their kids are doing so much better over here because it's just so much easier. So the general consensus is that the quality of learning and the subjects and everything, it is a lot easier. So you would likely find that your kids from South Africa will excel in the schools over here. It's almost like if they came from a private school in South Africa, they worked a lot harder over there and they had tougher subjects, and that means that it's easier for them in Canada. I heard it from a lot of people. As far as my own kids go, look, they kind of missed a bunch of school, so it's hard for me to compare. And it's hard for them to compare. They left private school in South Africa when they were 7 and 8 years old, or 8 to 9 years old. So since then they've been in schools in the US and everywhere. But Connor even said that here it's still easier than the US, because in the US they were doing things over here that they did the previous year in the US. So how good is the schooling? That's up to, I suppose that's in the eye of the beholder. Like I said, it's easier according to a lot of people, and I think they give kids a lot more options as well, which is beneficial again. You know, they give you the opportunity to learn and do so many different things, which is great. So, having said that, in my personal opinion, I would think that a private school in South Africa is probably better than a public school in Canada, than most of the public schools in Canada, or they are on, and I wouldn't say a lot better, they, you know, either on par or slightly better. The only difference is in South Africa, it's I don't know, these days, my sister was saying something like 18,000 Rand a month for her kid. It's, I mean, that's like $1,200 per kid per month just for schooling, and here it's free. Oh, okay, they do send you the odd, like, oh, $65 freaking this fee and $50 that fee, and, you know, they have a couple of little fees that they hit you for over here. But it's free. It's a big difference. I do feel like it's a slightly, I mean, yeah, also as far as schools go, I guess another big difference between private schools in South Africa and the public schools here in Canada is, and once again, it's been a while since I've been to South Africa, so can I really comment on South Africa? No, I'm speaking from when I was there. Is discipline. You know, here, oh man, it's a nightmare trying to get the kids to school on time. Now, my kids struggle. They can't wake up, and they're always late, and it's always a mission. But the funny thing is, I would arrive, school starts at 8:30, so we would arrive at school at 20 to 8 because we're running late, and there would still be kids everywhere walking to school and ambling along, and parents dropping them off. So what I'm trying to say is, it's not just my kids that's late. It seems like, you know, it's just like everybody rocks up around whenever they wanna. And I feel like in South Africa, it wasn't like that. You know, I mean, there are kids that are late, but it's like, it's almost as if it was more serious. People tried to get their kids to school on time. That was a more important thing. And then discipline also. I mean, I listen to my kids and I listen to how it sounds like what they're doing in the schools. I mean, it's like, oh, where were you? No, I was like, we weren't doing so much. So I kind of got up and I went to my friend's class and I sat there and then we did that. It's I don't know, maybe I'm just old. I believe in discipline and strict discipline, but it seems to be that there's not that much strict discipline in the schools over here. It's more a case of, you do what you want, and we're not going to force you to do anything. And I do feel like in South Africa, it was, from what I remember before we left, and also granted our kids were smaller, there were definitely more discipline. The kids were more disciplined, I don't know how much, but still. So yeah, that's definitely a difference. I mean, trying to compare the public school system to the public school system in South Africa, I mean, the public school system in South Africa, if you look at all of those, there are some really good public schools, don't get me wrong, there are a few good public schools in South Africa, but I think overall it's not comparable. If you're a South African, you know what I'm speaking about. Most of the public schools there are like, it's actually sad that that's what the kids have to teach them, but it is what it is. Yeah, so that's the school system. Is there anything else I can say about the school system? Yeah, it is what it is. Kids have a lot more freedom and overall. But, once again, a lot of the South Africans that come through here, their kids excel if they grew up in the stricter private schooling system. They seem to do very well over here.